The impact of the international community's sanctions and restrictions is brought to light by the growth of the shadow fleet of ships carrying Russian oil. The trading behemoth Trafigura claims that this fleet has expanded to a whopping 600 tankers. This accounts for 20% of global crude oil vessels and 7% of global oil product tankers that are ostensibly doing Russian business. Compared to the tiny, sanctioned barrel-managing ships of the past in nations like Iran and Venezuela, this is a significant shift. This month, the European Union plans to outlaw practically all imports of Russian refined fuels by sea. It will also put a restriction on the cost of Russian petroleum in exchange for access to essential Western services like insurance. However, experts believe that Russia has a brand new, world-shattering master plan to undermine the new Western sanctions. Lukic, an industry specialist, predicts that the embargo on Russian oil would eventually drive up the cost of crude and related goods. This is due to the fact that the embargo will lengthen and complicate shipping routes. However, because of ongoing trade with Moscow, oil prices have stayed low despite the embargo. Furthermore, Lukic projects that rising Chinese demand would cause petroleum prices to soar, possibly reaching $90 per barrel by winter. And he thinks it might be difficult to break the $100 per barrel barrier. Lukic added that the oil market is facing a serious challenge as a result of the current circumstances. Additionally, it is adding layers of bureaucracy and complexity to a sector of the economy that has historically depended on efficiency and speed. He continued by saying that since the inefficiencies will be transferred to end users, the penalties may result in higher expenses for them. The business is prepared to adjust to the new rules, though, and is nevertheless upbeat about the future. According to Lukic, Trafigura will keep figuring out how to function within the limitations of the sanctions while continuing to be dedicated to providing for its clients. Aleksandar Vučić, the president of Serbia, has now complimented Russia for managing the effects of sanctions more skillfully than any Western nation. The Russian response to the sanctions, according to him, has been above expectations. Additionally, he recognized Elvira Nabiullina, the governor of the Russian Central Bank, for her leadership in guiding the nation through this difficult period. Vučić acknowledged the central bank's Nabiullina and her team's work in making calculated choices that have contributed to the stabilization of the Russian economy. Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman Al Saud issued a warning in the meantime over the possible impacts of Western sanctions on Russia's energy industry and the possible repercussions on the world's energy supplies. The minister thinks that one potential consequence of the sanctions would be a global lack of energy supplies when they are needed. Furthermore, Saudi Arabia now faces more competition in the region as a result of Russia being compelled by the sanctions to look for other markets in Asia. The monarchy has also been compelled to sell more crude in Europe, which has changed the dynamics of the world energy market. You see, the events surrounding the energy market in 2023 have taught the globe one important lesson: the nations that make up OPEC Plus are liable. They avoid talking politics and just concentrate on energy and oil market policies. The choice to reduce output by 2 million barrels per day contributed to the stability of oil prices. Furthermore, the monitoring committee of OPEC Plus was advised to maintain stable production levels at their most recent meeting. The significance of OPEC Plus in sustaining oil prices was also discussed by Saudi Crown Prince Salman and Russian President Putin. Experts also believe that more sanctions may have a major negative impact on the economy and erode Western resolve to provide military backing for Ukraine. The West's military assistance, like the tanks that the US and Germany recently sent to Ukraine, has been vital to the country's fight against Russia. Additionally, the export of military-grade equipment has to be subject to stricter regulations in the West. This involves the employment of dual-use technologies, such as semiconductors, to erode Putin's military might even more. Putin's power has been less curbed by economic sanctions than by military assistance. Putin's resources have also been curtailed by the freezing of $300 billion in Russian central bank reserves. Sanctions on the export of gas and oil, however, have had more detrimental effects than beneficial ones. They have made Moscow more dependent on China and given Moscow access to new Asian markets. More so than the sanctions, the decline in oil prices has affected Russia's economy. Furthermore, the Russian invasion of Ukraine has unexpected repercussions for the allies in the West. They threatened to cease purchasing Russian gas and oil, which skyrocketed energy prices and boosted Putin's income. As a result, Russia's current account surplus doubled, global inflation soared, and tensions amongst European nations escalated. Russia gave emerging economies, led by China, a discount on oil, which was detrimental to the allies in the West. Financial uncertainty brought about by the prospect of sanctions also decreased foreign investment and caused the value of the Russian ruble to decline. But Putin was able to take advantage of the West's reliance on Russian energy and turn it to his advantage in the talks. Putin was able to use this to his advantage and secure financing for his military actions against the friends in the West. Furthermore, Russia's economy has been greatly harmed by the recent sanctions imposed on it. It was less able to borrow money from foreign markets and less able to finance its expenditures. There is a growing argument that the Western partners ought to keep applying more pressure to the Kremlin by imposing sanctions and limitations on its exports of gas and oil, given the bleak forecast for the economy. Global warming is also a result of the ongoing hydrocarbon extraction process. In addition to aiding in the delegitimization of the Kremlin, decreasing the demand for Russian gas and oil can help ensure a more sustainable energy future for the entire world. But putting these policies into action wouldn't be without its difficulties. Russia has demonstrated a readiness to employ energy as a tool for political gain. In response to these limitations, Putin might possibly cut off shipments to Europe or look for alternative markets for its gas and oil. Furthermore, a prohibition on imports might have a big economic impact on several European nations that rely largely on Russian energy. Furthermore, if Russia's economy were to go out of control, the world would be affected. The nation is a significant player in the world energy market and a significant supplier of gas and oil to Europe. A collapse in Russia's economy would also affect other nations that rely significantly on Russian energy exports, as well as the world's stock markets. Furthermore, there is a chance that the growing hostilities between Russia and the West may turn into a full-fledged war, which would have devastating effects on international stability and security. Sanctions' effects on Russia are a complicated matter with numerous unidentified variables. On the one hand, Russia's economy might be severely impacted by decreased energy exports and frozen central bank reserves. However, Russia has the ability to increase the price of gas and oil globally, somewhat offsetting the harm brought about by the sanctions. This does not, however, come without its own set of hazards. The main concern is that the sanctions would backfire and cause inflation, a recession, and political repercussions that might be detrimental to Western nations. There is concern that the effects of a recession will lead to budget deficits and resurrect political issues that were put on hold during the financial crisis. This might result in the emergence of pro-Putin nationalist leaders who gain new allies on both sides of the Atlantic. Additionally, the supply of weapons to Ukraine may cease if the sanctions backfire and an isolationist president is elected in the United States. For Ukraine, which is now receiving military assistance, this would be difficult. Therefore, experts think it might not be worth the risk to try to bankrupt Russia. What are your thoughts on Russia's insane master plan to destroy the Western sanctions? Let me know down below. If you want to continue to learn about business investing and financial education, we have got this video waiting on the screen for you to check out. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.